Tonight on the show, temperatures for harvest season have been a little odd this year, and of course some crops have seen some damage, but there is a bright side to all of this, and a lot of farmers are looking into the option of growing and malting their own barley. This will be also a possible partnership with local breweries. And Harvest of Harmony sounds coming from a Nebraska farm family. These stories are all coming up here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us on NTV's Grow. Chilling temperatures have had quite an effect on this year's crops. Temperatures this time of year are about 8 degrees cooler than normal. The freezing temperatures in certain areas is damaging crops like soybeans, sorghum, and corn. Good news though, Kansas State University crop specialist says the damage shouldn't affect the price.
I think that most of the crops were really far advanced, so we were in a really good shape. I think that the impact that we will have on the production side will be very minor, and in terms of the price, I don't think that it will be affecting any price at this moment.
He says this year's temperatures are very unusual compared to last year. Many crops are in good condition all across the state, but because of the temperatures, some farmers have had an issue even getting into the fields this year. Late planting caused the crops to mature later than normal, and the USDA says 60% of the corn crop is mature, well behind the 5-year average of 70%. Soybeans are 2 percentage points behind average. With just 7% of Nebraska corn crop harvested, farmers are 9% behind the average. Soybeans, 11% behind. However, winter wheat farmers are 10% further along in planting than normal. In Kansas, farmers taking advantage of the mild weather. Monday, 31% of the winter wheat crop was planted, 13% of it already emerged. Corn harvest, 35% complete. 2% of soybeans were harvested. The fourth cutting of alfalfa hay is about 70% complete. As we start getting revved up for harvest season, there is a reminder out there for you, especially as you haul that grain to the elevator. Haulers are reminded that the seasonal harvest permit or farmer-issued statement are not valid on any part of the interstate system. The permit allows a vehicle transporting harvested products to exceed the legal weight limitations by 15% from the field to storage or market. Conditional interstate use permits allow you to exceed the 80,000-pound maximum on interstate system, but all axles and groups of axles must remain legal. Officials also want to remind you to keep equipment inspected and safe. You can get more information by calling the NSP Carrier Enforcement Division. Barley could be an alternative for several farmers out there, as there is demand here locally, even in Nebraska. NTV's John Jankowski takes a look.
The brewmaster at Thunderhead, Trevor Shaben, is checking on his beer. He's one of the brewery owners who wants his barley to come from right here in Nebraska.
It's always better to make stuff from local ingredients if you can get them. If the quality is there, you save money on shipping, you get to buy it from local people.
Shaben says he is speaking with a couple of farmers about purchasing malting barley from them. Grain processor Joe Roberts has been thinking about malting his barley for the past 20 years, but malting the crop is a complicated process.
When they malt barley, they have to get the barley wet, and it has to go through a sprout process. And once it's sprouted a certain amount, then they have to dry it, and then that's what malted barley is.
This is a field Roberts harvested his barley on in July. He says 3 breweries in Nebraska have been in talks with him if he had any interest in selling to them. He hasn't made the move yet because there's a lot of risk involved.
They would probably buy some from you, and you have to prove that you're going to do a good job, and you have to prove that you're going to have a constant supply. So it takes time to do all that.
Through the process, a farmer has to buy all the equipment it takes to malt the crop. Then they have to make it good enough for local breweries to purchase it.
Many times you hear about the EPA overstepping their boundaries. Governor Heineman, he shares his concerns about the EPA and what could hurt the ethanol industry here in Nebraska.
The renewable fuel standards has been good for America, good for the Midwest and Nebraska in particular. We're the #2 ethanol producer in America, the #1 cattle feeding state in America, and that's all happened because we've got the water, the corn, the cattle, the land, the resources to make that happen, to feed the world, and we don't need the EPA to mess around with that.
Experts in agriculture can actually have a positive impact on the fight against obesity. A new University of Missouri research center on obesity is bringing together experts in agriculture, medicine, food science, journalism, exercise, and nutrition. The facility includes an observational laboratory and a metabolic kitchen where researchers can design meals with specific nutritional profiles. A recent study in the Journal of American Medical Association found more than 30% of U.S. adults and almost 20% of American children are overweight. And ag research is also expanding down in Kansas at Wichita State University. A Flint Hills family is offering access to its ranch for research. University official says the gift will help researchers in biology, geology, grassland studies, and anthropology and other fields. The official says much of the undisturbed grassland is only accessible by ATVs or horses. He says the size of the land dwarfs the university's other prairie research sites. Many experts say there's a need for scientists in this country. There's different ways that they're trying to solve this problem. NTV's John Jankowski found out one way.
As the plant matures and it's growing.
A farmer shows high school students the basics of feeding cattle.
What if I told you this works in the same set of principles?
A UNL educator explains how using drones will be the future of farming. They can be used as an aerial view if crops are diseased or surrounded by bugs.
I want to go into agronomy and stuff like that, and I think it would be great in the future being able to use that to go out and check fields and stuff like that.
With students from 7 different high schools at the Youth Science Field Day in Holdridge, the UNL Extension Office hopes kids develop more of an interest in the business.
This day is really designed to help to spark that interest and instill in them some ideas of things that they can do when they get into college and possibly as a career.
Representatives from UNL explained all the different majors the school has to offer. Students also heard information about wind energy. Nebraska ranks 3rd in the country for wind energy potential. The high school kids say they learned a lot from today's program.
A lot of our animal products are in our products we use in daily lives, such as like lotion and face wash and our tires.
When cows eat grass, it goes back into the rumen and then it comes back up to their mouth so they can chew it again, so they can better themselves by those nutrients to give us protein.
With horses, drones, and wind energy, students experienced a wide range of science basics.
John goes on to report that there are similar events planned for Kearney, Lexington, and Hastings in the coming weeks. Now, when it comes to the food drive at Husker Harvest Days, many youth in the area did have a huge impact. Here's an update from the food drive at Husker Harvest Days. America's Farmers Food Drive collected 12,860 pounds of food. 47 ag youth groups from across the state contributed. The food drive is sponsored by Monsanto, conjunction with farm progress companies, to benefit the Heartland United Way. FFA and 4-H groups that brought the most dollars will be awarded $250. The winners were Palmer FFA, East Butler FFA, and Alma FFA. Monsanto provided a $10,000 donation to the Heartland United Way. Howard G. Buffett Foundation also donated $10,000 to Feeding America. Chances are you've heard his voice on KRVN or listened to some of his songs featuring Nebraska farms and farmers.
In the year of 1878, my grandpa bought the land.
Now he is up for a big honor. Big Al Weekly was nominated for DJ of the Year by International Bluegrass Music Association. He says it's an honor and the competition is pretty stiff. He wrote and sang this song, Farmer's Dream, which we will show more of the clips during tonight's show. A big congratulations to him. In the meantime, just ahead, we're going to take a look at some of the optimism going into harvest season this year, and we have your grow forecast. Don't go anywhere.
Farmland, 100 years or more. My daddy gave it to me, just like his dad before. I'm a 3rd generation, family raised on the land. I'll carry on the family farm and the dreams that Grandpa had. In the years of depression, no water to be found.